Hi, everyone. I'm Claire Bonacy. I'm the Director for Volunteer Experience and Operations and Insights for the Pacific region. I'm also a Senior Director for U.S. Health and Life Sciences here at Microsoft, and I've been very involved in HBA for almost 3 years now. I started out as a member in the Seattle region chapter. I became very involved in local events, planning events locally, and now I'm lucky enough to work with the men as the volunteer on the Pacific region. The volunteer experience team is relatively new, and we really feel that many members, they don't always know how to get started, how to become a volunteer, and they have a lot of the same questions that we've been hearing. So we just wanted to try to address those and ensure that you have all the resources and the answers that you need to be a volunteer or get more involved. So do you want to give a brief introduction?
Yes, hi, thanks, Claire. I'm Iman Hanachi. I am based in Seattle. I am the president of volunteer experience within the Pacific region. For my day job, I am the VP of strategy and business development at ISP Bioanalytica. I was a member of the HBA for almost 7 years now. I joined in Boston. I asked, how can I learn more about the HBA? And I was recommended that I explore volunteer opportunities, also explore the mentoring opportunities, which I did. I volunteered on the market research team at first in Boston, and when I moved to Seattle, I continued to do it remotely in the era where remotely didn't very much make sense at that time. I also, in parallel to that, I tried to launch the Seattle chapter, the affiliate at that time, part of the Pacific region. And I'm really happy that we have the Pacific region. We have the Seattle chapter, now became a chapter officially in 2018. It was an affiliate for from 2016 to 18. Yeah, super happy to be a volunteer. And I hope that what we will share today will inspire many to join us. It's really a wonderful committee and wonderful team to be part of. Yeah.
Perfect. No, I love that. And definitely, you're the pro, you're the expert. So if you don't mind, I'd love to ask you a few questions. And obviously I will chime in too, but you have so much experience with HBA. So do you mind just describing, a typical week for an HBA volunteer? Like, what's the time commitment? What are the typical tasks? Do you have a ton of meetings? I guess just kind of what does it look like?
Yeah, so that really is a tricky question. It depends on how much passion you have for it, how much you'd like to give back, how much you'd like to learn also. I think it's good for volunteers to know what they want to get out of the HBA when they join, and you can just spend 2 hours a month if you want to, but also you can spend 10 hours a month if you want to, or even more. It can be a full-time job without realizing it if you want to as well. So I think realistically speaking, it's really depending on the team, depending on the leadership level that you have, but also and how much, like whether you are on the chapter level versus the Pacific region level or versus the global team, because we have different levels of volunteering. If you're a senior executive, then there's different volunteering opportunities for your level of commitment, your level of expertise, and how much you have time to dedicate to the team and give back. There's so many opportunities. So we can spend a whole hour talking about that, but to summarize it, it's really depending on what you like to get out of it. You can volunteer just to, like a freelancer, so to speak, a little bit of time versus a lot. You can be a mentor, you can be a mentee, it can be on the advisory board, you can be a director, regional director, or a committee member, and all those have different levels of commitment.
I think that's a great answer, and definitely, from my perspective, I think a lot of it is just the opportunities that you make of it. So if you are really interested in leadership and you take on a volunteer role, you might want to be really involved. You might want to spend 10 hours a week to ensure that you're kind of getting that leadership skill set that you joined for. So I guess what skill sets are needed to be a very successful HBA volunteer, or what kind of skills do you normally gain from being a volunteer?
Yeah, skill set, we really need the passion and the eagerness to learn. And the biggest skill set is communication. And that's something that you can come with, like great communication skills, but also you can learn as you're part of the team. It's really the biggest skill set, I guess, is agreeing to respond to emails and showing up to meetings when we promise to show up to meetings. And if you promise to get something done, to get it done, that's the biggest skill set. There's a layer of, we tend to like, I guess most volunteers have really great project management skills and time management skills, because everyone is busy and everyone has their own day job and life. So it's really like someone who's good at knowing when to do something and when to delegate. And a lot of the skills, if even I guess on the gain part, you can come with like a little bit of skills and then expand on that. You learn leadership, you can learn delegation, which is a huge learning for me at when I started. You can learn the confidence, you can learn presenting skills, a lot of things. It can be also on the technical level, can be, you know, some of the keywords you need to know in the industry versus the function in which you are. Yeah, and again, it's almost depending on what you'd like to get out of it. There's infinite room for learning and things to gain. So the one thing I would like to mention there is like, you can come with a list of goals that you'd like to learn this and that, which is terrific. I actually recommend everyone, if they are willing to join and if they would like to be part of the team, to think about what's in it for me, what I would like to get out of what kind of experience I would like to gain from the HBA. But the nice thing, there's always an element of surprise that makes things even better. I think the other thing also is our community is terrific, very diverse. You can have different types of industries, different size of companies. You have the payer side, the provider side, the pharma, the innovation side, and there's so the quality of our network is terrific too. And there's like, as you do things and because we all give back, you will have a lot of coaching and also how to grow. So
definitely, I think I completely agree with that. And definitely, I think part of being a volunteer and why it's so great is that you get really deep networking skills. And so you're working with your team, you're working with other kind of regional teams or chapters very, very in depth. And so you kind of get, I guess, a deeper sense of networking. You meet a lot more people, a lot of connections. And if that's an opportunity or an area that you'd like to grow in, I think that's, it's great to be a volunteer for that reason. And then also, if you want to grow in your leadership skills or your presenting skills, there's always opportunities for that. So this question might be a little tricky, but do you mind describing just kind of like a corporate partner path versus a traditional path for a volunteer? I feel like I don't even know the answer to that question.
Yeah, it is. It is tricky a little bit. I started as an individual member, and the reason for which I started as an individual member is because I wanted to learn. I was just stepping out of being a bench scientist. I wanted to be part of the industry with like knowing what are the things that are being discussed from the business development perspective at that time, and from the consulting perspective back in the time. So so from the individual perspective, I guess most people will join because they have something in mind they would like to be gaining out of it. What I'm observing I have not, for a very long time, I have not been part of a corporate partner, and then I was part of a corporate partner and sponsor, primarily because I wanted my company to be part of the team and part of the corporate partners environment, and also want them to be sponsors. As an employee, having that company support was terrific, but also more for the company's perspective, it's really great place for the company to network outside of our usual circle of networking for the company. But what I hear, so in that case, I guess like my perspective is more like you are a corporate partner. I was part of a corporate partner, but I brought the partnership to my company. If you're in a corporate partner, if you have membership through your corporate partner and you're watching this, you're like curious, what's in it for me? What I typically, as we network amongst each other, is what we hear is that people feel like, oh, I have the membership. They think it's just attending events, maybe taking advantage of mentoring circles, but very few people like would raise their hand and volunteer, not thinking primarily they don't have the time for it, which is very true. Like no one has the time if you don't dedicate the time for it. But also like there are so many benefits out of being a member, and why your company is actually investing in you and giving you that membership, because they see like if they typically there is room for growth and for having, you know, growing up the ladder or even horizontally. There's always good things out of it, but there's also a level of recognition. Some people join because they got a Rising Star Award or a Luminary Award, and they're like, oh, I get to, and then that reception when it's announced, they get to meet with all these wonderful people, men and women in the room, and then that's how they realize, oh, volunteering is a great idea. So what I'm trying to say, if you're part of a corporate partner, the passively, sort of speak, if you have the membership and you don't know what to do with it, you can think about the skills that you would like to learn outside of your day job, and things that you'd like to do on the side, so you can get to the next level. And then ask people within your company. Sometimes those people are those are the ones who are going to tell you where to go to get that experience. But also we're here. If you have questions, if you're not sure where to join, let us know. We'll be happy to guide you to go to that step. So I don't know, like Claire, maybe let me ask you here. I know this is not really planned. So as an award winner, tell us like how do you, and as a corporate partner member, also tell us how do you, any word of wisdom do you have for people watching the video on that part? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the beauty of being part of the corporate partnership or having your company really willing to invest in HBA is that obviously your company is already bought into HBA. So obviously they see a value in it, and they're going to see more value in it if people that at their company are actually utilizing it, and not just utilizing it to attend events. I think especially in this, past year and a half of COVID, our companies have been really, really pushing us to do more and to get out of just the virtual fatigue of attending these virtual events. And I think being a volunteer and getting more out of a corporate partnership like HBA has really kind of opened up that door and done that. So, I think one of the last questions I have for you is really, what is the process like if you are interested in volunteering with HBA? How do you find opportunities, whether that's regional versus local? What kind of positions do you look for, or just generally kind of where do you find these resources?
Yeah, so I would say the website itself, but the best thing is we're still like to have that interaction. I think you and I met in one of the Microsoft networking events, and I think that meeting in person is what led to you involved in several things, and you indirectly volunteered. You sponsored events in Seattle, and we actually, even before the pandemic, we had events between Seattle and San Francisco. So I guess the best thing to do is really attend an event. Well, now it's virtual. You can attend an event via Zoom or via whatever platform of teleconferencing. And you can, in the chat, you can say, hey, I'm interested in volunteering, and people will definitely not miss that and reach out to you if that's what you'd like to do. And the reason for trying to say events, because I'm sure you will not sign up for an event in which like you have zero interest in. So there are different variety of events. And now that we're like in the virtual world, you can attend an event based in Seattle or like somewhere in California, but also you can attend an event on the East Coast or Europe, because we're a global organization. So we're all connected. Like we work, like here on the chapter level, work within the Pacific region, but we have all sorts of, as you know, Claire, we have so many ways of being global. So even if you reach out to the wrong team, they will connect you to the right team. And actually, on that note, I like to say, and for me, like personally, like when I moved to Seattle from Boston, even though we didn't have the HBA at that time, I really benefited from the HBA network quite a bit. Not quite a bit, it's not the right word. It's like really a lot from so many perspectives, like finding the right people here in Seattle and not feeling an alien in an area where there's there's not necessarily, at that time, there wasn't an HBA network, but sooner or later we'll find those people. So yeah, I guess attend an event that speaks to your interest and reach out to the people, to the organizers. If you're in the right region, the right chapter, they will welcome you. If you're in the wrong region, the wrong chapter, they will send you to the right ones. So yeah.
So I guess, Iman, do you have any closing thoughts or statements that you want to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I would say be curious. You don't have to, if you're curious, if you're not sure, just reach out. And actually, Claire, you raised a very good point on the community. I think the communication we have on our community platform is beyond just volunteering and membership. It's sometimes people share about events that you don't want to put on social media because you don't want them to be super big. And I actually have to say seriously, when I joined the Microsoft event, it was because someone shared about it internally. It was, I forgot whether it was JP Morgan or the Bio Conference. It was one of some big events, and I had the opportunity to join and get to know you and meet you there. So I think there are a lot of sharing on the HBA community platform. You can, if you're a member, then you have it. If you're not a member, then you can be a guest, and you. So I can't remember, but there's a lot of information on that community, and you can't be wrong. Like if not sure like if you're not sure where to reach out, even sending an email to the HBA staff will also lead to reaching out to volunteers, because we're big, but we're small at the same time. So we will find you. You will find us if you reach out to us. So that's and I would like to, maybe one thing to add is, like, I think maybe everyone may think that they don't have the time to be part of the HBA community. I would not be part of it for years if I did not think it was fun. I love learning. I continue to learn, but it's so much fun. I always, actually, especially in the pandemic, that was my, gosh, like, it's a big chunk of fresh air that I get via Zoom or via Team and Google Meet, and it's meeting our wonderful community is really beneficial. We exchange new ideas. We keep each other positive, and there's a lot of laughter. There's sometimes music in the background. There's a lot of interruption from kids around, or dogs, or puppies, or so, and cats, and there's a lot of interruption for sure, but we get work done. And some, as you know, Claire, some of our calls are, when you're volunteering, we are very, I mean, we get the work done, but sometimes my calls are like no camera on, and sometimes it's via the phone, via text. So we'll find ways of getting work done and being impactful. I think the biggest thing is you will discover, if you're part of this community, you'll discover a lot of strength that you may know them, but you may not know them, and you're like, oh, this is a great class.
I could not be more proud to be part of HBA, and I know that is very true of you as well. So hopefully this video definitely provided more information, answered a few questions. I'll link both of our LinkedIns below so you can find us, reach out if you have any questions. Otherwise, hopefully we'll see you as a volunteer soon.
Thank you.